Why politics and ethics do not go together? Or the question was, do you think politics and ethics can go together? Do you agree? If you don't agree, you should have some examples. If you say if you agree, you should have some examples. Generally, it is easy to write that politics and ethics do not go together. Easy to write. Difficult to write is basically politics and ethics going together. Yes or no? So politics and ethics, why they do not go together? Politics basically look at short-term objectives. Yesterday I mentioned this. Short-term goal, no? Girls are short-term, no? Why? Because you have to win the election. You have to win the election. Okay. In politics, what happens is ends justify means. Ends justify means. Ends justify means if you win the election, you say, yes, it's okay. It's okay if we talk about Ram Mandir. It's okay if we talk about any other issue or religious issues, etc. Maybe downsizing other problems like unemployment, etc. if you win the election. Okay. But you can write examples like politics. Why politics? What is the challenge? Politics believes in giving high subsidy, or I can say vote bank politics. Vote bank? Why you want to appease the vote bank is basically you want to win the election. You are making people lazy by giving all the subsidies possible. Most of the states, now if you follow the same mechanism, there is every chance that you become Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka? Okay, without earning revenues, you keep on spending, taking loan and all for your vote bank politics. Automatically what will happen is, over a period of time, there will be financial situation will be very bad and you will also become one more Sri Lanka. Okay, but you do it. For example, politics, example, loan waivers. Heard of loan waivers? Banks are gone, economic systems are gone by giving loans, and still you go ahead. Yes or no? Okay. And you bring in drastic reforms just before elections. You give tax stops, concessions just before elections. Yes or no? Okay. So politics is basically about short-term goals. Okay. You want immediate result. Immediately you want result for politics. Okay. So therefore ends justify means when we talk about politics. Okay. Any other example? Okay. Religion, caste. Okay. All these are given preference rather than humanity. Okay. So you are taking stands with respect to religion. Indirectly you take stands with respect to caste, etc. All this happens because you ends justify means. All this happens because ends justify means, because you have to win the election. Okay. So, and since it is short term, but ethics basically will prevent, the main logic of ethics is to prevent the societies from getting into destruction. The logic of every institution, every mortal institution, every individual has to die. Every individual has to die. Similarly, every institution which is created by a human, a mortal, will also be reaching its end. Destruction basically. Okay. Anything you create has to be destructed. Okay. So to slow down the process of destruction of any institution, whether it is a political institution, whether it is an educational institution, etc., you need what? Ethics. And ethics always thinks in the perspective of long-term benefits. It will not think from the perspective of next 3 years, next 2 years, next 5 years. Long-term what is good. And that is the reason generally there is a conflict between politics and ethics, because politics focus on short-term agenda and ethics focus on long-term agenda. Politics talks about ends justifying means. Ethics not only talk about ends, but there are certain, of course, here also different types of models are there. Some ethical models keep saying that ends justify means. But there are some ethical models which say means are as important as ends. Means are as important as ends. So there is a conflict, no? Means are as important as ends means there is a conflict. Okay. What is the main reason for coalition parties? People do not have trust on even a single entity. Over a period, you lose trust on the politicians, criminalization of politics. Slowly what will happen? You will have hung only. You will have coalition only. Why? Because nobody is getting a particular majority. Are you able to get my point? Are you able to get my point? That means lack of trust on the political institutions, lack of trust on the politicians also is responsible for coalition. What will happen if you have more coalition? You can't take stable decisions. Less stability means less economic prosperity and less growth. Are you able to understand what I am saying? So, and the main reason, of course, main reason for coalition is what? No particular party is getting maximum votes possible. Therefore, they are aligning themselves. So, people don't have trust on anybody. But somehow, who is the best? You are there forming the government. Are you able to get this? No, this is how that is. That means loss of ethics in politics can lead to, this is how you should write, no, loss of ethics in politics will lead to loss of trust, isn't it? Loss of trust. This loss of trust, why? Because of criminalization of politics. Heard of criminalization of politics? Okay, so without criminal track record, hardly you see a politician. Okay, that is what is criminalization of politics. Increase in coalition governments. Okay, and if you have different parties at center and state, okay, so different parties at center and state. Nowadays, that is a big challenge. Different parties at center and state means there is specific targeting among themselves only. Are you able to get this? All these are issues, no? So, important resources are getting diverted with respect to political conflicts rather than being spent for productive aspects. Okay, this is a big challenge if there are no ethics in politics. Over a period of time, people will not go out and vote also. Why should I vote? How does it make a difference now? This is the mindset, no? Today also voting percentage is very less, especially in urban areas. In rural areas, they are going and voting because they are given money or liquor or something. Real educated crowd is not voting. Major chunk of educated crowd, they are going to office now. If there is lack of ethics in politics, you will not have rational voting behavior. Rational voting behavior means what? You will not check what is right for the society, what is right for the country. You will be just voting on the basis of caste, religion, etc. So, obviously, the leader you get will also be somebody without ethics only. Irrational voting behavior, where you are voting based on religion, caste, etc. rather than voting based on what is beneficial for the long term. These are the impacts basically if there are no ethics in politics. Then you can think of people from, see, there were good people from different parties. Lal Bahadur Shastri, Vajpayee. You can't say one party was good, another party was bad. You can only say, even Manmohan was also okay. Manmohan Singh, of course, is not a politician. Manmohan Singh, you can't call him as a politician, more an economist. That's why they want such people only. P.V. Narasimha Rao was also not a shrewd politician. That is why they wanted P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1990s. If he would have been a shrewd politician, he will not be the Prime Minister. Are you able to get my point? Okay, so like this, then you can talk about Abraham Lincoln. That is politics and ethics going together. You have Nelson Mandela. Yes or no? Or you have Lal Bahadur Shastri. You have Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Are you able to get my point? So like this, you have to think of certain examples also where politics and ethics go together.